Lead Time is a weekly dose of leadership insights and interviews from Tim Allman and Jake Bessling. Lead Time is for any leader living in a busy world looking to be inspired, equipped, and empowered to lead others to their fullest potential. This is Lead Time.
Welcome to Lead Time. My name is Jake Bessling here with Timothy Paul Allman. He is working out here.
It's a great day to be alive, Jake.
Excited. We are happy. We're talking about the happiness advantage today. And you're a leader and you've chosen to grow. And so we believe eternities will be changed because of it. Today we're talking about the happiness advantage. Happiness. How do you get it? How do you keep it? How do you make it into...
Clap along if you feel
there
like
it is.
a
There it is.
without a roof.
I mean, how is it contagious? How do you build a culture in your organization, your team, of singing about happy tunes? In Christian circles, I don't know about you, but I think we get hung up a lot of times. I haven't about joy and happiness. I didn't hear the word happy growing up a ton in the Christian circles, you know? It was kind of like a bad word.
It is a bad word. You can't be happy.
You can't be happy. You got to be joyful. And joyful is way different. Happiness is from this world. But joy is from the Bible. It comes in the morning, you know? Happiness, it is fleeting, but joy is forever. We have kind of these Christianese kind of sayings out there. And some of you might be even saying, oh no, I've heard about this happiness advantage book. That's like some psychology mumbo jumbo.
Mumbo jumbo, drop the mumbo jumbo.
I don't think I can listen to this. Hang on. When you look actually at the word happy in the Hebrew and in the Greek, it actually means blessed. Blessed people are happy. In Psalm 1, David says, happy. Blessed are those who do not walk in the ways of the wicked and sit in the seat of mockers, but those that do not delight in sinners, but that sit under the law of the Lord. They meditate on the law of the Lord day and night. And so happy, what I'm saying is happy doesn't seem to be a bad word in the scriptures because we're emotional people. God has wired us to be happy, sad, and all of those things. Jesus even says happy. Blessed are those who would be poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And the whole Beatitudes are the happy attitudes, you know? They are for you, and there's a promise attached to them. So where else in Scripture could it help us to retool our thinking of happy is not a bad word?
So joy is everywhere. I mean, when I think of the word joy, I get happy. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Nehemiah 8, verse 10.
That's a happy verse.
Sorrow may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30, verse 5. You've got Jesus sending out the 72, and they come back, and they have great joy because God used them in a marvelous, marvelous way. John chapter 16, verse 22. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he said, you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice. You don't think they're happy? They're totally happy. And no one, Jesus says, will be able to take your joy from you. So happiness is all over the scriptures. And obviously the biggest motivator for happiness is the bodily resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah, which Paul saw the risen Jesus, and then he couldn't help but proclaim through his daily life, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice. Yep. And so we want you to see today that happy is not a dirty word.
You can use that word.
It's not a bad word. And Tim, you're one of the happiest dudes I know. So tell me about your happiness. Of course, it comes from Jesus, but I would imagine that early in your life, someone might have fostered that into your cultural DNA in your house. Tell us more about how you got a little happy.
So my dad is a goofball.
Goofball, love it.
You know, I remember going to Dairy Queen, right? Leslie's cat, right? I remember going to Dairy Queen and having him do, hey, Miss Piggy, hey, I would like to order a peanut butter parfait, please. He would do Kermit the Frog voices. Wow. Hey, little Miss Piggy. He'd do all these silly voices.
That was a great attempt, by the way.
It was an awful attempt, but not nearly as good as my dad or announcers. Hey, he'd do announcer voices. And just the culture of my home was like a lot of laughter and lightness, so shout out to my dad. Another epiphany was like, why would I choose wake up? I had a little minor adversity in college as it related to football. And I remember this 20-year-old Tim saying, why would I wake up and be grumpy or pessimistic? Like, that's going to take a lot of work to live right there. I want to have fun today. I want to have joy today. I want to be happy today. I'm making this Holy Spirit inspired choice to choose joy today. And I want other people to have fun too, because life is just better when we have fun and have joy. So that's kind of the heart of it. You're a very happy person too. Tell us a little bit about your happy story.
Yeah, I just don't think we use that word, that culture, and so it had to be fostered over time. So for you, that maybe you're like, man, I'm kind of more serious or grumpy even. This is a choice, and we're going to talk about 7 choices you can make to be a happier person. And it's going to leverage your ability to continue with day-to-day things in a new light. It will help you actually see the future better and a vision for your life, to take really the negative that even happens, the suffering that produces perseverance, character, and hope, and it won't disappoint. So today we're going to look at The Happiness Advantage by Shawn Achor, and he is a New York Times bestseller.
So this is a book that you should come back to all the time. You should read, we heard this somewhere, and I totally agree with it. Like your shelf, you may be a bookaholic. I'm a recovering bookaholic, where you get all these types of books, but you don't really internalize a lot of them. This is one I read 2 years ago. It was during my sabbatical, and now I've come back to it, and it is fresh and real. And what Shawn does there, Shawn Achor, what Shawn does is give 7 principles for living a happy life. Now, I don't know if Shawn is a follower of Jesus. Frankly, I don't care. What we're talking about, I do care. Let's be honest.
Who cares?
I do care.
Who cares?
But what he is bringing is truth.
Yeah, exactly.
First article reality truth. Brain science, relational science about how you, whether you're a Christian or not, could choose.
It's from the Creator.
That's right. Choose happiness.
Wired into us.
The first practice is the happiness advantage in general. This principle teaches us how to retrain our brains to capitalize on positivity and improve our productivity and performance. Yada, yada. Sounds yada, yada. But man, there are so many stories. There are over 200 studies, follow me here, on over 275,000 people across the world. And here's what those over 200 studies found. Relational psychology focused studies. Happiness leads to success in every domain of life, including work, health, friendships, sociability, creativity, and energy. Listen to this quote. Lean into this quote. Happiness is not the belief that we don't need to change. It is the realization that we can change. We're going to grow. And one of the main points in this whole book, if there's one thing we want you to grab, is that happiness is not a destination. Like once I get that promotion, make that much money, get into that relationship, then I will be happy. Every single study, and we're going to give you a whole bunch of studies and stories here, every single one of them say the people who chose happiness and joy, that actually is a more consistent indicator of success.
Yeah, and we got to go to the best theologian of all times, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, 100%. Yeah,
he said, I wish everyone could get rich and famous so they could see how insufficient it is to make us happy. Yeah. Happiness, here's the deal. Happiness may lead to success. Success does not guarantee happiness. Because a lot of people think, man, I got to get successful and then I'm going to be happy. No, it's actually the other way around. You need to be content, happy, secure with what's going on in order to move forward, and then you might be successful.
There's a misconception that's even been around for some time that your brain, your ability to grow, is fixed at a certain time or stage, or that it may even be biologically fixed because of the family you were raised in. Like you've got this ceiling and you've already hit the ceiling. That is a flat lie. It's a flat lie, especially with our Kingdom Jesus goggles on. Let your hearts and your minds be transformed. Do not be conformed to this world, Romans chapter 12, but be conformed by the renewing of your mind, so that by testing and discernment, you may know what is the will of God. And here's the will of God for you: to believe in Jesus and to find hope and faith and life and joy and happiness in Him and Him alone. We'd love to teach you a new word: neuroplasticity.
Love that.
Neuroplasticity. It's the idea that your brains are malleable, they can grow. You can be 75 or 25. That brain is still developing.
And Paul really backs this up in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. He says, do not conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The mind that God has given you, the one and only, has this potential, this opportunity to choose happiness. It's a gift that comes from God.
So how do you define happiness? Have you ever thought about that? There are very few definitions. I'm just going to give you a few, and here's why. It's because happiness is so subjective based on your personal experience. Acor defines happiness as this. He took an attempt here, and I think it's a good attempt. Happiness is pleasure combined with deeper feelings of meaning and purpose. Say it again. Pleasure combined with deeper feelings of meaning and purpose.
Yeah, there's really three components that he talks about there. Number one, it's pleasure. Number two, engagement in the world. And then three, that you had this meaning. So happiness is what I feel when I'm striving after my human potential. Tim, when do you have that thriving, that like, man, I'm really living out my human potential?
It's interesting. This moment, right here with you, feet on the ground, chatting with you, being pressed and stretched over the last 2.5 to 3 months during COVID-19, my brain and my heart comes alive, and I feel more joy, happiness, when I'm pressed and maybe even stressed. Why? Because then I have to rely upon Jesus to fill in the gaps, for other people to fill in the gaps. My brain explodes with possibilities. You on one of our Tivit Jake Lives recently, you said sometimes you can go a little too fast, you know? Well, it's because there is so much going on in here, you know? And so I need to be on a team to kind of slow and systematize and all that kind of stuff. But man, my brain has been trained to see trial as an opportunity.
Yeah, so as a leader, how do you apply this? But allow yourself to have fun at work and allow your team to as well. Carve out times, experiences, the power of the moment where people will just have fun, that you can even know what lights them up, what makes them excited, what would get them to, yes, produce more, but like getting to know them to allow for more fun to be around the office. Today we're hanging out for about 6 hours. We're gonna have a lot of fun on a retreat. It's on campus, but we'll be doing different fun games and activities and opportunities. Even eating together can be fun as you ask people different questions.
Wonderful. So that is it. That's the core of this, the happiness advantage. Happiness leads to success and fulfillment and meaning and purpose rather than getting to that destination and then finding happiness. The second principle teaching comes with this metaphor called the fulcrum and the lever. This principle teaches us how to adjust our mindset, which is a fulcrum, in a way that gives us power, which is the lever to be fulfilled and successful. So, Jake, do you remember being on a seesaw back in the day?
I do.
That's the point. So do you remember when maybe the larger boy or girl got on? What happened? You go whoop, whoop, up like this. They lift you up if the fulcrum is right there in the middle. Well, here's what happens.
It'd have been great if you could have moved it.
Exactly, move that thing closer to the heavy kid, you know? Because once it gets close to the heavy kid, there's almost just a little bit of pressure. The whole thing starts to move. That is the value, the benefit of the fulcrum and the lever metaphor. So it's our lever, here it is, the power we believe we have in any situation. Our fulcrum is our mindset to generate that power or activity to actually change the situation. Oh, I gotta tell you this story from the book. Yeah. This is an amazing story. So back in 1979, good, they put a group of, I think 75-year-olds, it was a group of them, I think it was 10 or so, into a controlled environment for 1 full week. And here's what they invited them to do. Remember when you were 55 years old then? Yeah. The glory days of being 55. And that year was, for them, 1959. So everything in the room, newspapers and everything
articles,
said 1959.
Pictures.
And they said, we want your mind to go back to what you were doing, where you were in your work life, what your relationships were like in 1959. And these men had a killer time, such a great time. Well, they did pre and post tests. And after that week, just a simple week of putting their brains 20 years prior, list the results. I mean, this is crazy.
Their eyesight improved by 10%. Their memory improved by 10%. They were actually in a lineup with, or not a lineup, but like people said, I don't even recognize them anymore. They had changed physically. And then the estimates that they did, that they had almost like actually gained 3 more years back of their life. Pretty amazing. So nothing, our potential and even age is not as fixed as we think so. So the placebo effect.
You've heard of the placebo effect?
I have.
Oh, I love it. Tell it.
Yeah, there are countless studies that have shown that even the mindset that patients are healing has phenomena actually healing effects. And so there was studies where if you gave them a pill that really had nothing in it, because you told them it was going to change their life and it was a different type of pill, they just believed it. And so the mind believing these things actually shaped the existence.
So here's the challenge based on the fulcrum and the lever, is to realize that our brains are finite. We can only receive so much information. We can't change reality, but we can change by the renewing of our minds, Romans chapter 12, the way we see reality, our perspective in any given moment. Now, Jesus is the master leader, and he is honest about reality, and yet he takes them up and outside. Think of the disciples, man, they are ready to do whatever, even give their lives for the mission of the resurrected Jesus. In this world, you will have trouble. That's reality. But take heart, I have overcome the world. That's a brand new perspective setting. And here's what Jesus did. He extended the fulcrum of brokenness and sin and death all the way out to the edge, and with his finger said, boys, women and men, you are going to change eternities. Just a little bit of pressure. Holy Spirit pressure. It will be amazing. We have the ability to have that sort of fulcrum in the lever mindset.
Love it. So number 3 to practice, the Tetris effect. Remember that game?
I love
Tetris.
I stunk at it.
All the different objects
do.
going, about 5 of them. This principle teaches us how to retain our brains to spot patterns. Retrain our brains to spot patterns of possibility, so we can see and seize opportunities wherever we look. There was a study done where 27 students played Tetris for multiple hours for 3 straight days for pay. I'd love to do that.
Now, right in front of you, say, you're going to pay me to play games?
Yeah.
I'll play games.
I'm in. You feel like you missed out. Think again. For days after the study, the reports from these candidates, these participants, was that they were seeing Tetris everywhere. They would go to the chip aisle and would see like different chips and different styles and how they could fit together. It's called the cognitive after image. It's kind of like when you see a camera flash and you keep continuing to see it. They saw the world in Tetris. Now, Tim, how does this apply to leaders at work?
So the Tetris effect takes place at work when you may have some wounds from your past, the way you may have been mistreated, and then it's called displacement in psychological circles. Then you take that negative experience that you never processed and you project it onto other people. You can only see negative and scarcity. You've got the Tetris effect. How does it play at home?
Yeah, I mean, if you're the boss at work that is always seeing the negative at work with your staff, well, with your kids in, you're getting home and you're very quick to notice the C's, how dare you get these C's? It could have been worse. And so you're always seeing the negative.
And even on the daily walk, we live in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's beginning to get a little bit hot. You go on that walk, you know what I want to say? This is a beautiful day. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, but you may walk next to somebody who has a Tetris effect, and they just said, this is too dang hot. How do you live? It's just too hot.
That is a mind shift switch. You need to have the positive Tetris effect then. Study after study have shown that grateful people are more energetic, emotionally intelligent, forgiving, and less likely to be depressed or anxious or lonely. So Christian, you have every reason to be the most grateful person that is happy because of what Jesus has done for you, secured your salvation, given you life eternal, and given you this day as a gift from him to love God and love others.
So let the positive Tetris effect explode in beautiful ways in the body of Christ. Principle number 4, falling up. This principle teaches us to grow through failure and suffering. We talk about this a lot, and actually look back and be happy that you experienced it. Why? Because of all that you learned. Study after study after study show that if we are able to conceive of a failure as an opportunity for growth, we will all the more likely experience that growth. Do you see that? I think a lot of times you just may have missed the simplicity of that if you can see it. Now, this is different. Just dream it. You dream it and you can do it. You know, that kind of stuff. So this isn't pop psychology. It's actually given from Jesus. Again, recognizing that in weakness and loss, there is strength and opportunity for a new day. We've all heard of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, Christians should have what? PTG.
Post-traumatic growth.
Growth, baby.
Yeah, over the past 2 decades, psychologists have found that great suffering can lead to growth. This isn't only a scriptural thing, it's a God thing.
So the psychologist's name is Richard Tedeschi.
He found that the most successful people in life were those who defined themselves not by what had happened to them, but by what they can make out of what happened to them, the future, how it shaped them. Adversity is not a stumbling block then, but a stepping stone to further growth.
So Michael Jordan,
MJ.
The Last Dance, baby. MJ, you are the real deal, one of the fiercest competitors ever. I would not want to cross you at all, but Michael Jordan said this: I have failed over and over in my life, and that is why I succeed.
Yeah, Robert Kennedy said, those who ever dare to fail greater ever succeed greatly. So parents, let your kids fail. Let them stumble. Let them work through the adversity. It'll be the stories they share about how God has shaped them through their weakness, through their tough times, that make them cling to Jesus and make them continue to lead. And leader, allow your people to have wide boundaries and permission, and allow them to stumble and fall and risk. And failure is not fatal, and so you're there to coach them along and say, it's all right, we're going to learn from this and build from this, measure that, and learn. COVID-19 has been a great time to do just that.
Every crisis is a catalyst for falling up. Point number 5, principle number 5, this is the Zorro Circle. I love Zorro as a kid. I wanted to be that masked bandit warrior dude. When confronted with emotional and mental hijacks, also known as stress, this principle teaches us to focus first on small, manageable goals and then gradually expand our circle to achieve bigger and bigger goals. So in the movie, The Mask of Zorro, the trainer Don Diego made young, swashbuckling Alejandro into Zorro by taking him to a cave for training. You remember the story of the cave? There he drew a circle in the dirt and said, "You are forced, Alejandro, to fight in this circle. This circle is your world, and until I tell you otherwise, all you know is this circle." What was he doing?
Yeah, healthy people are not defined by controlling the entire big world. They realize they can't. Healthy people are not defined by the actual control they have, but how much control they think they have right there.
It's like tricking your brain a little bit.
In the brain,
you know?
right? How much do you think you have? They have an internal locus of control. They firmly believe that their actions have a direct relation to the outcome. So leader, here's your responsibility for every person on your team. Define their circle. For some, the circle, the responsibility might be massive and large, and others, a smaller circle to work toward faithfulness and the larger one. For the team member who is young, make their circle small. Small wins will catalyze larger wins.
Yeah, so every human being realizes that you may have been realizing that there's so much that's outside of your control, especially in the midst of COVID-19. When's it going to open up? Am I going to get the virus? Oh my goodness, is something going to come out that's going to help us defeat this thing? And I mean, are you a scientist, person trying to work on these things?
Come on.
Most likely not. If you are, I'm thankful for you. But if you're not, like, what are the ways that you can kind of narrowly control? Now, a lot of times we speak of control in the negative sense, but having a limited, a reasonable locus of control simply says that you are a co-creator with God. You have been created in the image of God to tend to, create, and care for all of this broken, frail, fallen world. That is your responsibility. Draw your circle. Draw your circle.
That's the Zorro circle. 6 and 7, here they come. It's the 20-second rule, and we're going to skip ahead a little bit there on our notes, Tim. But the 20-second rule is this: to eliminate the 20 seconds it takes to reinforce an action by putting the desired behavior on the path of least resistance. So you lower the barrier of change by just 20 seconds and see a new habit. Here's what it is. He talks in the book about he wanted to play guitar, and so his guitar was stuffed down the hall, in a bedroom, in a closet.
He's not going to grab that guitar.
I ain't going to grab that guitar. Here's what he did. He said, it's got to be less than 20 seconds for me to daily have a habit and a ritual of playing the guitar. So he bought a stand, and he put the guitar in the center of his living room. And so when he would sit down, he would easily say, wow, there's the guitar. There's a reminder. I can easily grab the guitar. So it was like 2 seconds worth to think, hey, could I actually make this a reality? Yes, I can. And so what would that look like, this 20-second effect? Financially, maybe you struggle with using your credit cards too much. Don't have them in your wallet. Right? And so you narrow that gap, or you widen it based on the habit, good or bad. A bad habit like that, well, you want it to be minutes to hours before you get your credit card. So some people have taken them, putting them in their freezer. Maybe if you still need to do it, make sure when you go shopping, you take cash and you leave that card at home. How about Netflixaholic, you know?
Yeah, take the batteries out of the remote.
I love that.
If you need to, put them 20 seconds or more out of reach. When you get home, you might just read a good book like this.
Exactly.
Rather than go to mindless Netflix binging.
And you got like mindlessly eating. Some of you out there just are, you'd be eating right now. Maybe you're eating as you watch this. You're just mindlessly,
You just put it all down,
your brain is just letting that go. Some of you drive home and every day you stop at the QT for that 64-ounce Slurpee. How do you stop
Starbucks? There's Starbucks. I gotta have it. I need me. Like your brain is triggered by that emblem. I just love me some QT. I don't even know what the Starbucks symbol really means, but I see me that. I gotta get that quick hit of caffeine. I don't know why you totally lost it, but it's okay. We're gonna carry on because we do. But our brains are triggered in crazy ways. So take a different way home. Like measure the way home to not do that. All right, email checkers. Email is someone else. Oh, this is so good. I love talking to this. So the 20-second rule. Make it harder for you to go to your email if that's something you're constantly going to. Because what is email? It's another person's agenda. It's something they want you to do. But you've got big dreams, big goals, big rocks that you got to move, man, to move the mission of Jesus, whatever your vocation is forward. And that is distracting you from accomplishing that. So work off your 3 things that you just want to do that day. You have a lot of control over getting those 3 things done. And then if you have people that you could ask for help, right, to monitor your email, I have some people that help me with that, to kind of highlight that. Man, super helpful.
I love this practical one too, that you have this automatic password, right? Of course, You just click the window and then there's your email. Well, turn that sucker off so that when you get out of that rhythm, you're like, okay, I have to do extra work to get into my email. Do that only a couple times a day to check that email. Or the morning workout blues, you're like, I just can't figure this out. We both do this, I know, that we keep our workout gear right there close to our bed. Mine's right outside when I get outside my bedroom, before I go down the stairs, bam, I'm gonna put on these clothes. He even says, sleep with those clothes so that you're first thing in the morning already getting into that habit of working out. I have to make a switch there because I don't have my shoes there. So tonight, I'm putting my shoes, they're downstairs, but I'm gonna start upstairs.
I'm not gonna sleep in my workout.
I'm not gonna sleep in them, but
I can just put them on later.
Put them on right
All
there,
right, cool.
right after.
So yeah, practice the 20-second rule. If it's positive, make it within 20 seconds. If it's not, make it harder for you to do those negative things. The last principle is social investment. Talk a little bit about social investment.
Yeah, one of the largest and longest running psychological studies was done with 268 Harvard men. They tracked them from 1930s all the way to 2009.
Really?
And this is what the review was. They were trying to see, it was one of the longest studies ever, trying to see what personal characteristics and circumstances would make those men happier or sadder. In that study, what did they find was the differentiator? Love. The people that loved others, that had social interaction, relationships where they could give love and receive love, were happier after that 70-year period. In a study entitled Very Happy People, researchers sought out the characteristics of the happiest 10% around them, and it seemed to be a national study. Are they wealthy? Or are wealthy people the happiest, physically fit? The strength of most of those people that were the top 10% were the strength of their social relationships. What do you mean? They had friends. They had family.
So we've been hanging out today all morning. This is the 5th of 5 podcasts we shot today. I don't know when
slap happy.
Yeah, we're a little slap happy, but it's been fun. You know, hanging out and Adam, Marlon,
hearing
Bob,
stories.
It's just being with people. Like I have more energy. I've not actually drank hardly any caffeine this morning. Been rocking water, and there's still
decaf.
Like the dopamine and the serotonin hits have been like off the chain. Why? It's because we're in community. We're in a relationship.
So leaders of leaders, build a healthy team culture where people start to know each other. If you don't have team meetings where people share a little bit about their journey, their story, their emotions. A good question I learned recently that I'm asking a lot of employees that I work with and that are leading me and I'm leading them is, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel today? And it just starts to spark like, wow, I didn't see that coming, but wow, it's good that I know that about you. Now I have a little bit more of a friend here. I can understand where you're coming from. How do you feel?
Entree Leadership has a free assessment for you with your team if you're a team leader of a few or many. And one of them we're doing is called the Weekly Report that goes out.
About that.
And you get to see in a quick snapshot highs and lows and how they're feeling and the main pain points in their work and their simple happy faces. So I get a snapshot to see our whole team is feeling good or great or so-so or that kind of a thing. And then I can follow up with them because I care about their emotional and social well-being.
I love it. Yeah. With your onboarding to different employees, make that first day, that first week, that first month, that first year an incredible experience for your employees, your team, to get to know someone else. You might even pair up like someone that's been at the company for a long time with someone that's brand new and say, man, would you take them out to lunch this whole year? So that people would have a network of people and a friend. I love the MLB and how there's no statistician that could say this is actually something that takes place, but psychologists, coaches, and players say that in any locker room, there is a glue guy. You can be a glue gal as well. A glue guy that keeps things going together. That on the road, 81 games a year, that this is the person, these are the people that are just rah-rah, they're cheerleaders, they're exciting. They're actually just listeners, and they keep people excited. Man, we're on the road, but it's gonna be okay. I'm a friend. You have a friend in me.
You got a friend in me, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
I'm happy. You happy?
We are so happy you joined us today
happy.
Lead Time. Sharing is caring. Thank you so much for making the investment in personal growth. Happiness is not a bad word. Let the joy of the Lord be your strength this day as you infect, in a beautiful way, happiness to others. Go with His peace.
Smile. See ya.
You have been listening to Lead Time with Tim and Jake. Please subscribe at cglchurch.org/leadtime. Thanks for listening. Tune in next Friday for another episode.